All right. So we'll just have to start this one over again. Yeah, I blame my computer.
All right, so hopefully now everything should be fixed with the sound, and we can move on with the show. I was just asking Kirk how his Thanksgiving went. Kirk, you want to tell the story over again, or?
Basically, my premise for Thanksgiving was I wore my tightest pair of pants because when I could eat till it hurt with them, I could still wear those pants. That was my theory because I only have so many pants. I need to wear all of them.
And I was explaining to Kirk that he's a Thanksgiving quitter and that he should eat as much as possible on the mother of all buffet holidays.
That's what capitalism tells you to do. You just got to need more and more and more. But at a certain point, you're full. Your tummy's full. And you're going to be like, I don't want to crap forever the next 3 days.
And guess what?
Don't be a slave to the holiday, people.
You are never full. You can always fit more whipped cream / pudding or ice cream. It fills in the cracks.
All right.
Oh, no.
President America. that was you know what that was your word from America.
And then going to John, I already know that you weren't at Thanksgiving because I was there and you were not. So
this is true because I was working.
John had to work.
Were you working for the weekend?
No, but let me tell you, working a night shift when you don't work night shift sucks.
Well, I heard Thanksgiving is a horrible day to work any medical thing because people just stuff themselves like Chris. Of the heart attacks, like I heard that's a bad medical day.
See, I don't think so. I mean, I was busy. Don't get me wrong. It was a busy night, but it wasn't because of that. And like, I don't mind working Thanksgiving most of the time because it's one of the days, like most people do not come in during Thanksgiving to hospitals. It's not like it doesn't happen because it does. It's the days after that are bad, in my opinion.
Well, I've heard, like plumbers, the day after Thanksgiving is called this Black Friday. You said it's also called Brown Friday, if you know what I mean. That's not like the plumbers. The day after, there's a lot of people not eating salad, clogging things up.
Well, there's a strange definition of salad.
It's not a lettuce on your submarine sandwich doesn't count.
So let me preface this and explain. The reason I say that is because there's a channel I follow that, and Chris will kind of understand, like frog eye salad. This is something that, you know.
Yeah, frog eye salad is a very sweet pudding dessert, and it is salad, so counts.
Oh, and like the reason why I find this funny is because the count I or the videos I watch, it's from a Minnesotan person that, you know, plays up the Minnesota mom type thing. Everything is salad, like cookie salad. It's
potato salad, macaroni salad.
Yeah,
like, that's not healthy. That's clogging things up.
That's what I was
kind
like.
Of people.
Well, that's just what I was saying. Like half of our family, you know, kind of originated from there.
Mayonnaise
and everything. Yes. That's why I just find it funny, like salad. I was like, I don't think I ever remember. There was always salads, but they were never salad.
There's marshmallows in them. Like
yes.
I remember like marshmallow. Like if you put bacon on it or Bacos or there had to be some sort of meat or something to trick me into eating actual salad. But you guys were.
Yeah, no, like
ain't got no marshmallows. Get off my property. You ain't from around here. I don't know why you're Appalachian Hill folk, but you are.
That's just how it hits you, huh?
I don't. You know what? It just came out. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
We don't take too kindly to your type around here.
Come on, yeah, Mr. Pale and Mr. Get Off My Property, and I don't like. Come on, it all. Look, I'm not out of left field here. That's all I'm saying.
Well, hopefully,
but just one more thing. By the way, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to like you guys to like pray. But here's the thing: the bar shift I left, they're celebrating their 9th anniversary. So I left a celebration at a bar where I could have drank for free and eaten for free for several more hours where there's music. Why? Why did I leave that? I left it for the Fuzed Relativity Podcast to talk to a bunch of space nerds and tell jokes. So I don't want to say like, I need a you're welcome, but come on, it could have. I left responsibly after 3 beers and a hot link that made me sweat. So a pat on the back, a harumph. That's all I'm saying.
Well, thank you, Kirk. We always appreciate it because you show up.
It's number 39. We're almost to 40.
Almost there.
Okay. So what are we dealing with other than praising me? What are we doing?
I was gonna say I hope everybody's Thanksgiving went well. It's always a long day for us, but we enjoy it and we get to eat a lot of food, so all is good.
Pecan pie. Okay,
that's right. But John, you wanted to talk about viral stuff. Take it away.
Well, I was going to go with the food thing first, but we can also do that. So we had one of our clips went semi-viral on TikTok, which was odd. And I say semi-viral because it's viral is kind of a weird one. Like I've dealt with social media for quite a while, and I've dabbled in YouTube and all of that stuff. And a viral post would be something that you would see, and it would make the rounds. Like, is the fact that we're almost at 200,000 views? It's impressive, but it's not exactly something that would potentially make news. And what gets me even more, and Chris agrees, it wasn't a good clip at all.
I think that's the only pertinent part of the story, is it was a really stupid clip that just happened to have a lot of people watching it.
And that's what gets me. It's like, the other thing that I noticed is that I think this is built into TikTok's algorithm. Somehow. Because there's another account that I know of, and they posted videos, had the same kind of thing that we do. We posted more, but months ago they had one video take off, and now it's almost at 200,000. We've had the same thing happen, and now our accounts are, equivalent, aside from the fact that we post a whole lot more. And it's just, it's strange.
Anybody can catch lightning in a bottle, and it just goes for no reason, and then they're on to the next thing. It seems like it's like a very ADD thing. Like something catches their attention, and they're on to the next thing.
Yeah, it is.
What is nice is John said that our space engineers clips are like 10% of the space engineers hashtags on
very
TikTok.
Close to 10%. Like there's 2.4-ish million views, and we're almost at 200,000.
Well, and there's a certain thing you can don't get busy, patting yourself on the back because pet rocks were a thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of talking about. Is like 100 or 200,000 views on TikTok. It's impressive. It's numbers that I have never seen before. Like I think the most viral thing I've ever had, or I say viral, the most viewed thing I've ever done was an old YouTube clip about butterflies in Minecraft, and that got 5,000 views over the course of like 3 or 4 years before I went through and nuked all my old stuff because I didn't think I would ever get back into YouTube. And
right, when there's close to 7 billion people, most of who are online. So it's a small sliver, tiny sliver.
Yeah, and it's like, even on TikTok, having, like, we're almost at 1,000 followers, which is amazing, but it's not. Now, I look and there's 11 notifications. It's not anything to write home about because, 100,000 or 10,000 is when they start looking and saying, hey, you're popular enough now, you can tap into the creator fund and make money. And then, most of the big-ish accounts are around 1 million, and then you have the really hyper ones that are above 10 million. But for an app that has like 1 billion people on it, it's just strange. And yeah, I find the whole thing amusing. And I also find the fact that I'm the one in charge of it amusing. Because I hate this.
Because you secretly hate interaction with anybody, even if
no.
virtual.
You are the worst social media marketer person we could get, essentially. And you're going to tank. And, your anti-promotion is going to set us apart.
It's not even that. Like, I'm fine with promoting it. I just wish I didn't have to do it. I woke up.
There's got to be, if you're going to produce something, whatever it is, there's got to be a way for people to find it, or it's just you doing it, screaming it into the ocean, or like just putting it into a can. You know what I mean? Essentially, if you're producing something, there should be a point, and if at least letting eyeballs find it, and then maybe if they like it, then they start collecting. But creating stuff and then not sharing, there's the self-satisfaction creating it, but I don't know, give it a chance.
Yeah, I understand the reasoning. Like, I have to be the one that does this. Well, I say have to be the one that does social media. I have all the raw footage, so it is easiest for me to do all of it, which is fine.
And you're pale, and you know how computers work, and I don't.
It's just that the fact that I hate the social part of it is just weird to me. Because
just don't do it douchey. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole about it. To be just like.
Oh, no.
When I run a comedy show, it's just like I would throw, here's the show, here's the people on it, come if you want. You know what I mean? It's not berating you 70 times every day and friend us, like us, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to do it classy, San Diego.
Well, and my thing was, like, as Chris pointed out, and I want to point out the video, or I made a video about how, we're not looking to join, we don't want people joining us because we have very limited time to do this stuff. And Chris was like, oh, that was a very well thought out video that you did. It took me almost an hour to make. For a
hey, an hour, that's fine. That's good.
That's the filter version that most people don't have, which is why TikTok is so successful.
Well, you need a time. There needs to be it can't just be instant gratification. It just can't be just like have a thought, say it, and then I'm done with it in 30 seconds. There should be some evaluation, a little phrasing. Let me think this through. And I don't know. I mean, an hour technically is a lot of time, but is it really?
Well, for a 30-second clip where I essentially just wanted to say is, yeah, we'd like to have people play with us, but we just don't have the time. Right now.
But if you half-ass it, then you offend. Yeah, turn off. If you spend the time if you put the time into, if you're not going to spend the time to put energy into the message, why bother at all?
Well, yes, and that brings up a great point, and that's why I also kind of find it funny that I'm like, this was something that I was managed to do without too much difficulty, but. It's just, it's weird how...
hour, I write jokes an hour every day. Yeah. Come on. An hour, it's good. You're spending it into something you care about. You're producing something. You want it, the thing you're producing, you want to be good. It takes time.
Yeah, and I guess it's just because I'm getting, I'm older that I don't care. And I remember when I first started YouTube, I had to convince myself, because this was back in 2012, and I had to convince myself, yeah, you can put your face on YouTube. It won't be that big of a deal. I did that on TikTok without even really thinking about it. Didn't care.
Yeah, but the YouTube the video kept wondering why the flash was on.
That's true. People complained about cornea damage while watching, which shouldn't be possible. I don't know how you did it, but somehow Bill Gates said it was impossible. You proved him wrong, so well done. Powder said, "I need sunglasses." Anyway, Powder, anybody?
So John, I'm going to jump gears over because I'm very excited to hear part of our title of our podcast. What is the $100 an hour hamburger? I need to know.
Okay.
Is that the title, by the way? I can't see.
Oh yeah, it was the semi-viral TikTok and the 1,000. Jesus, I put a second and in. That's
and the
fun.
$1,000 hamburger
and the $100 per hour hamburger.
Okay.
So I was thinking. So this is let me set up the thing. I got up around, I think it was like 12 o'clock yesterday because I wanted to sleep in because I had to work overnight. And so when I got up, the kids and my wife were all at family for Thanksgiving. So I just walked around drinking coffee and thinking. Chris knows I pace and mill around frequently. I think even though that I was busy at work, I still hit like almost 16,000 steps last night just walking around. So I was thinking, and for some reason I got on the fact of it would be technically cheaper, or at least the same price, to buy a ribeye steak and make your own Big Mac at home, including fries and all of that, than it would be to buy a Big Mac. And I would bet that it would taste better.
Oh, you're getting a fight. Go ahead, Chris, get him, because I know you're just punching mad. How dare you besmirch French fries? That's what he's going to say.
I'm okay. So you're saying that you can buy a ribeye steak,
yes,
and a potato,
yes,
and make your own French fries and steak, and it'll be cheaper than a Big Mac.
yes,
No.
yes.
A big okay. So I have not been to McDonald's in a while. A Big Mac is $3. I have no idea.
Well, I'm talking a meal. Now, granted, I use DoorDash as meal. Yeah. Granted, I use DoorDash because they didn't have I don't have the app, so I couldn't see the price.
It's like $9 for a combo.
Somebody picking up a value meal and delivering it to you.
So now you would agree that I knew this was going to bring up this is why I was looking forward to this. So the reason I brought this up is a ribeye. I looked this up on Safeway, and it could be different in different areas, obviously. But a ribeye near me is $16 for a pound. Now, I don't know, are the McDonald's or the Big Mac patties a quarter pound? Or, because I don't think they're half-pound patties.
I think it's 2 quarter-pound patties.
Okay, which means that right there, just buying the steak is $8 for that burger. Now, a potato is what, 20 cents?
Sure.
We'll say 50 cents, just for a round number. We'll say 50 cents.
And then you have the bun. And you could argue like it's very close to making a ribeye Big Mac yourself to purchasing one in the store.
The energy of making it and the time.
And I agree. And
the quality of the tastefulness of it. Go ahead.
How much is your time worth, John?
Yes.
Well, but you're see, this is what I was going to say. I agree. It will take time, because if you wanted to do it the cheapest way, you would obviously not buy French fries that were already made, because that is more expensive. You wouldn't buy buns that were already made, because that is more expensive. You would make your own. And that all takes time. I get that. But would you think, and this is kind of what my point would be, would a ribeye burger taste better than a Big Mac?
Not if you were hungry for a Big Mac.
But
if your goal was to eat a Big Mac, then no, because you're not going to get it to taste the same.
You're chemically programmed to like the ingredients they use to keep you coming back, and anything else is going to be like, that's not a Big Mac.
Like, I get it. McDonald's burgers are, they're okay. They're fast food burgers. They're garbage compared to other burgers.
Yes.
So my point with the whole $100 an hour thing was, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, now what would happen if you ran a burger shop that paid their employees $100 an hour? Would that be a financially possible thing? What's your thoughts?
No.
I knew Chris was going to say that. All right,
well,
so
the quality. I mean, if it's fast food quality food, there's no way to make that feasible, because you would have to jack up the prices to such an extent where people are like, I'm paying for the convenience. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like if I'm going to pay this much money, I'm going to a sit down quality place. So,
well, okay, and that was my next point. Like, if the hamburger was $12, is that too much? Or for a meal? So soda, fries, hamburger. Is that too much?
For what people are getting paid now, yes, that is too much. I
agree.
If the bottom of the barrel, if you bump up the bottom of the barrel to $15 an hour, and then everybody else rises with them, I think there's a chance. But for right now, no, not feasible.
Okay, so here's the thing, John. You've got, let's say you're paying your employees $100 an hour. Okay, so how many employees are you got? How many do you have working?
So before I
do
get
we have
to
to
that,
pick $100 because it's such an asinine number?
The reason
there's no way this is possible. So it's like every rich
possible.
Bastard who goes, see, this is like, it's too far.
Well,
you think it's actually $100 an hour is possible?
I've done the math.
Like
yes,
bullshit.
But I don't know if I've done the math correctly, because there's a lot of things that factor into this that are variable, like price of meat, price of ingredients, stuff like that. When I did the math on this, and let me get back to the point. When I said that a $12 hamburger, and you brought up sit down versus fast food. Like, we got Red Robin's for dinner tonight because we had a gift card left over from my birthday. Those burgers are $12. They're $13, in fact. And when you think about that, you don't bat an eye at paying that much for a Red Robin burger, because, you're expecting a somewhat quality burger, right?
It takes a while. When I order it, it takes there's a couple minutes. There's a process. It's not just there you go, there you go.
Yeah,
it's home cooking, supposedly.
So when I factored out the equation for this, I put it at around $2 per hamburger to be made. Now, the reason I put it there was, if you're doing a quarter pounder hamburger, the price per pound for beef is around $7. Like for, a half a cow, it's about $7, or a full cow. Which puts the price of, and when you're buying on an industrial sale of like flour and all that other stuff, per hamburger, the prices is ridiculous. Like, if you look up how much it costs McDonald's to make a double quarter pounder, it's like 20 cents. The patties are like 10, most of the price, and they're only like 15 cents.
Yeah, but restaurants run on paper thin margins. I mean, if you look at most restaurants,
then why are they so? If that was true, if they ran on paper thin margins, why are there people in the company that make a fuck ton of money?
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I see where I understand where your brain's at, but I think that you're looking at it from, like, just knowing a little bit about how the restaurant industry runs. You can make money as a restaurant, but most restaurants fail.
Without it, I think it's like 85%. Like, if you make it to a year, like, you have to establish yourself and get it. So it's high risk.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: why do they fail? Do they fail because They fail?
Well, they fail. One, there's a couple reasons. One, rent is not cheap. Two,
I get that.
Two, usually restaurants do very well for the first 6 weeks, and then after that, people don't go there anymore unless it's particularly good.
That's what I was going to say. Unless it's particularly good, okay.
Right.
Which means,
if Chris stops and eats there, and then they can't fumigate, the odor just drives him away. But you were saying
that's one reason, but no, John. I see where you're going, but think about it from this perspective. You're proposing $100 an hour worker burger place, and most restaurants can't survive paying their workers $9 an hour.
Right? They can't. They can't pay them starvation wages.
So I've done the math.
It seems like the only one, like the corporate restaurants, the ones that are producing food that is essentially chemicals and shit, they figured out a way for their bottom line to work. But it's like a mom and pop place. It seems like much of a struggle.
Well, the other thing here, John, is you have to look at it this way. So you're saying, okay, so let's say you have 3 employees and they're all making $100 an hour.
Oh,
right?
I've done the math, and I've done the math with 5. So let's go with 5.
Okay, so 5 employees. That means every hour you're shelling out $500.
Yes.
Right? You have to have, what is that? What's your burger cost? What's the price of it?
Well, that's what I was saying. I did this with a price of $2 for the ingredients, which is mostly you would have to buy cows full and butcher in store. Same with, you would have to have someone that could bake and do that in store to keep the price down.
When you're butchering the cows, you don't do it in front of the customers, right? That would be uncomfortable.
But
so what are you selling this hamburger for? That's my question.
$12. That was the point. Okay, it's a $10 profit.
So $12 is what you're making per hamburger.
No, 10. Well, $12, yes.
So that's $10 profit. Right. So each 8 hours is each 8 hamburgers is $96. So you have to sell 40 hamburgers in 1 hour to
50.
just to pay your wages.
Yep.
Right.
So, and this is where I'm going to beat you with numbers because I looked it up. So 50 per hour, and if you ran it for 12 hours. So the other thing with this is 5 employees, 12-hour shifts. So only 3 days of work. And
you know what's not more fascinating on a podcast? Numbers. This is can I just say, I'm on the podcast and I'm bored? I'm speaking for the audience.
I get, and so my point is, during a shift, you would need 600 hamburgers to potentially pay employees and everything else.
What about the Hamburglar?
And what about waste? I think that this is something, it's an interesting thing to look at, but there's a whole lot of things that if somebody could have done it, they would have done it by now.
No, because people are narcissistic assholes that want money.
That's true. The people killing it aren't looking for another solution. If they're crushing it, so yeah, I quibble with that a little bit.
And that was kind of my point, is it could be done. Now, places like Red Robin, the more employees you need, the harder it's going to be, obviously. But my point was, with 600 hamburgers needed to be sold a day, the average person that comes in and buys a hamburger, if you average it out over the entire day, would probably be about 2 meals per person that comes in. Because you're going to have a certain amount that buy 1, you're going to have a certain amount that buy 5. Which means that if the average is if the average is 2, it would be about 300 customers you would have to serve a day. That is the average that most restaurants get in the U.S.
Can I just vent about Red Robin? Because they screwed me out of a gift card when I was working at another company.
Yeah, they almost did that to us. That's why we had one left over for my birthday.
I'm not a fan of them. I was working a job in a corporate building, and Red Robin shared it, and I would play guitar. And they go, "Hey, you play guitar? We're doing a corporate thing. Come play for us, and we'll give you $100 gift card, and then they ended up giving me 25. So screw those guys. All right. So what else are we talking? Are we talking about space? Let's talk about space.
We're not against your idea. We're just let's go to space because
$100 is a stupid starting place.
I mean,
I'm going to say
I agree. The last thing I wanted to say is like the virality of stuff like this. Like we got an In-N-Out in Colorado Springs not too long ago. In fact, it was months ago. It has not gone a day without cars wrapped around the street.
And supposedly they're kind of famous for paying their employees well. That's sort of one of the things they're known for. So they pay them more than the average fast food place. So
my last thought on this is if you had a store or a restaurant or hamburger joint that was selling or paying your employees $100 an hour, would you think that people would not be super interested in the company that's not screwing people over? Like, yes, $100 is entirely unrealistic. Like $50 would be more realistic and would cut the price down in half and you could have double the employees. The point being is that the amount of viral marketing that would go from just being a company that pays people $50 an hour for a hamburger or $100 an hour for a hamburger would be insane. And the other thing, I was going to bring this up when you were talking about quality, was do you not think that at $100 an hour, you wouldn't be getting Michelin star chefs coming in to work? Like, there would be people that would be, would do anything to work there and make sure that it was 100%, up to quality.
If you pay people that much, you would think they're not spitting on your hamburger.
Yeah,
they're not blowing their nose in your fucking water.
You're getting quality. You can pay at that price. You can pay for damn near probably the best baker in the world to come and make buns.
Right, but I think, but the thing is, the people that go to fast food are the people that can't afford quality. That's why they go to fast food. So it's like it's a weird market.
And this is why I was like, the cost of Big Mac keeps going up and up and up. Like, even if you go to Culver's or some of these other fast food kind of like hybrid joints, the price of hamburgers is high. It's not like
everything goes up. Yes, everything's getting more expensive.
You can still get those cheap things, but they lose the companies that you're buying them from money. They want you to get the more expensive stuff, and that's where I'm like, if this could be done, this would be a great experiment, and I think it would be a great experiment to see if something like that would be financially feasible, because I think it would.
Well, let's talk about it a little more behind the scenes, because I'm not opposed to talking about it.
No, I agree. It's
the whole time you're talking, my brain says no.
Well, because in your situation, you would be paying people as little as you could to make the most profit.
You're Scrooge McDuck.
Yes.
And see,
that's profit over people. That's right.
That's exactly right. Money talks and everything else walks. So greed is good. Am I right? Wall Street, everybody.
Just be happy that you have a job. That's all I'm saying. No. But that wasn't my real thoughts, people. It was a joke. All right. Kirk, I didn't mean it. It's so funny that you have to say that. You know what I mean? It was clearly sarcastic. There was some Weisenheimer in that. Yeah. Well, I don't want someone to get all offended,
Right. This podcast is for fun. That's the whole point.
Probably going to be next week's topic too. That's the other one I wanted to float, and I just knew we weren't going to have time for it. So let's go to space.
Okay. So the first one, I don't know if everybody noticed that I changed my icon. I don't even know if you can see it. But NASA launched a new mission just the other day, and it's called DART. And it's, I think, Double Asteroid Redirection Test is what they called it, which is why it's called DART. And essentially, they're going to they shot a rocket with a satellite on it that is going to crash land kamikaze style into an asteroid to try and change its direction.
So it's going to take the hit. It's going to fly right into it and then explode.
Yeah, very. Oh shit! What's the movie called?
You're thinking of Armageddon.
Yeah, I was thinking of Armageddon.
Curly Sue.
No, so yes, it's going to fly directly into it, and it needs to impact like dead straight on in the middle of the asteroid, so it's using all kinds of fancy autopilot to do that. But
GPS coordinates to get into the dead center.
Yep. The funny part is it's going to fly into this asteroid at 6 meters per second, which, John, you can do the math after the podcast, but I don't know how fast that is. It's really fast.
Can I say Mr. America bringing the metrics? I don't know what that means.
360 meters per hour, which is no. That'd be meters per minute.
That's commie talk. Metrics, come on.
That's just the research I did, Kirk. They don't in space. They do metric version, so
they don't put it in America. Okay,
yeah.
So it'd be 21,000 meters per second, which is, roughly.
It's really fast. So it's gonna fly. It's gonna zoom into the middle of this asteroid. And Kirk, can you guess how much it's gonna change its direction?
I would hope at least 10%. Can I say 10%?
1 degree.
Damn it!
But we've
that's
had
not
this...
even worth it. Why are we doing this?
No, we've had this talk before, though.
1 degree. So 1 degree, Kirk, is what it's going to change, and it sounds minimal, but over the length of 1 year, which is the amount of time the asteroid takes to orbit, it'll be a huge correction because, it's just 1 degree over a whole year.
Says you.
Well, that's what NASA said. Don't listen to what I say.
So you're speaking as NASA. Okay.
Yes.
This was when we talked about this last time, it was the arrow thing or the apple thing. Like, if you're trying to shoot an arrow at an apple, right up front, you're going to hit it. If you move it 10 feet away, there's a good chance that without even moving the bow and arrow, you're going to miss just because of that little bit of deflection just with anything can cause it to just miss. And the more you can change, like, you wouldn't want to sit there and, you don't have to put engines on it and just have them going all time to change it a bunch. A little bit, if we could get to it just the right time, would be enough to completely change the course of the asteroid.
So a little bit is enough. So it's
more than enough.
Okay, good.
And the whole point of this project is to measure just how much they can get it to move over the span of a year and see if it's a viable option to deflect future asteroids that may actually be in Earth's path.
See, and that's it's a double-edged sword kind of, because it only will work for asteroids that we can see coming and we have a high likelihood that they might hit, and then we can intercept in time. Because if it's super close, like the Armageddon asteroid, 1% isn't going to do shit.
Well, minus Jerry Bruckheimer, but it seems like we got a good. It seems like there's a lot of eyeballs in the space. I don't see like a rogue asteroid sneaking through us, completely blindsided.
Many,
really?
I believe there was one this year actually, where they were like, "Oh, didn't see that one coming."
Well, but like minuscule things that had no real impact. So,
they were big asteroids, Kirk. They were close calls, which means they were like 1 million miles away, but it was close enough to where they were like, that would have sucked.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't know. Like, you can be the old lady who watches afraid of everything, or, okay, so it didn't happen. Yippee.
Well, it's only going to take one for us to be like, oh, well, we probably should have done something, because one will do it.
Well, right, yes, it's true. Or it's something you don't have much control over. It seems like if it's, at a certain point, if it's going to get you, it's going to get you.
But that's kind of the point, is if we can figure out a way to deflect it, not Armageddon style, it becomes not an issue, or not a potential issue. The issue then becomes finding the ones that are hidden.
As long as Aerosmith can write a song about it, that's all I care about.
I'm curious to see if when this satellite crashes into the asteroid and NASA's response is oops.
Oh, don't start with oops, because
Flagging. Oi.
the fact that they dropped the James Webb. Did you not hear about this?
I did not. What
Yeah,
happened?
they dropped the James Webb satellite.
Mm-mm.
Like on the ground?
Yeah, so here's I'll try and remember it off the top of my head. But the press release was something like one of the clamps malfunctioned and there was a vibration through the facility, which means they were trying to mount it, dropped it, and it hit the ground.
Well, that sucks for the James Webb. They've already had tons of problems with that thing.
Well, and that's why it got delayed. I think the earliest it's going to fly now is the 22nd, and I believe the newest news out was that it is completely fine. Hopefully. This is going to be one of the ones that it's like, if it doesn't reach space, it's... who knows why? Or if it doesn't fully unfold.
It just seems like it's got so much stacked against it with the amount of stuff that has to unfold.
And the fact
dropping
that
it is probably not the best thing.
That's what I'm like, why did they drop it?
Right. Just what a tangled web James weaves, am I right?
Yes.
Truer words are never spoken. Or spoken all the time.
That sucks. I've been waiting for that stupid telescope to go up for like 2 months, and it just keeps getting delayed.
I'm surprised you didn't hear about them dropping it. I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
Honestly, my weeks are getting busier and busier, so my time to look at my space news has gone down. So
yeah, I'm with you.
But the other thing, John, I wanted to talk about was there's two things. One was the Astra rocket that went off last week.
Yep.
Successfully made it to orbit. So
Yep.
yet another company that is competing with SpaceX and
No,
Is
they
that
are not.
4? Is it 4?
So, okay, Kirk, let me clarify because John already jumped in and corrected me. Astra is not sending crewed missions or anything like that. It is going to be small payloads, basically small satellites that they're sending up, and that's it.
Okay,
They are
so
completing-
no space tours of no people.
I
Objects.
mean, you could potentially fit inside the fairing. I just don't think it would be very comfortable. And then when
fairing-
it opens, it's you might have a second or two, but
the capsule that the fairing he's talking about, which is the payload maximum area, is 5 feet by 4.5 feet. That's the area that you get.
Okay. The average American is not fitting in there. Not in any chance.
not comfortably.
Yeah, and so so they're not directly competing with SpaceX or any
So
of those guys.
what are they doing then? Is this just trying to publicity stunt
CubeSats.
to try to
No.
get attention?
No,
It's a satellite launching company. That's essentially what they're trying to take some of the satellite launches for Space Force and NASA and that kind of stuff.
and that's the thing is satellites can be small, and that's why we have small sat launchers. You don't want to pay. The CubeSats that are like a foot cubed. You don't want to have to pay Falcon 9 prices when you can pay way cheaper. Like I'm
So
assuming
they're trying to carve themselves out as the satellite people. They're
the small
they
sat.
They can be cheaper because they're not. It's not rockets. It's satellites.
Well, it's
Correct.
just they're sending up a small payload that you don't need a full on rocket for. A large rocket for.
Mm-hmm.
You're not using nearly the amount of fuel. You're not It's just a different process. So it would be like McDonald's versus, Red Robin. Price-wise, anyway.
Way
Yeah,
to tie it back.
their competition right now is Relativity Space, Virgin, because Virgin has a small sat launcher that got to orbit, and Relativity Space is close, I think.
And let's not forget about Spin Launch.
Spin Launch is never going anywhere.
Fuzed Relativity, we are launching a satellite soon. If you guys didn't get the memo?
So he brought up Spin Launch. He brought up
with the memos. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more problems with Spin Launch. It's a great concept. I don't foresee it potentially being useful.
Yes, I said that in jest because I don't think Spin Launch they were successful, but I don't think that it's going to be a effective solution for anything at this point.
And they said that the satellites. Well, I was reading more into it because when we were talking about Spin Launch, I brought up the fact that, the components may potentially need to be more hardened and everything. Supposedly, and I this is what they said, was that they can launch a cell phone without damaging it. And it makes sense because it takes hours to get up to the speed, and sure, it's pulling tens of thousands of Gs, but you're getting there at a short time. And
it's also spreading out those 10,000 Gs over the surface area of the phone.
See, well, and it's not just that. It's that inanimate objects, don't exactly experience G-force like we do. Like there was an example on it, and I don't agree with it, but they're like, if you put your phone down really fast, it's experiencing a ton of Gs. I don't agree with that, and I don't think it's 17,000 or whatever Spin Launch is claiming it'll have to go through. So I still think that they'll probably have hardened electronics, which I still think could potentially survive reentry. So I just think by the time Spin Launch gets going, it is going to cost less just to use a Starlink. Not a Starlink, a Starship. Like, you could charter a Starship probably less than Spin Launch will charge you. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Speaking of Starship, one last thing I wanted to get to before we go over to Kirk's Corner is Elon Musk came out this last week and said that for us to colonize Mars, we're going to have to learn how to live in domes.
Like the Astrodome, like in Houston? That's whenever I think of dome, that's what I think.
No, so more like the biodome.
All right, like biosphere. Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, he's saying, like, if we're going to go to Mars and habitize it, it's going to have to be under a dome where you can control certain things.
Well, you guys said underground is the best case scenario.
Yeah, underground
so that makes sense.
The problem with even underground, you're still going to want a dome. And I can see what he's meaning with domes itself, because it's this structurally sound. Like when you see a bunch of like tornado shelters, they're usually round, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know much about tornadoes.
Yes, domes are technically one of the safer structures to be under for most things.
And on Mars, you're going to end up with a lot of windstorms and all of that. So I can see domes being used for like agricultural processes outside of grow. See, and that's where I'd kind of disagree too, because I can grow shit by my kitchen sink that has no artificial light. I don't necessarily need, actual sunlight to grow food.
Are you talking about your kids?
No.
It seems like a mean way to talk about your kids.
No, it's hydroponics. Because I've grown tomatoes, I've grown basil.
Well, it can
hydroponically, no soil.
Yeah, no soil, just... Well, it's like styrofoam-ish stuff. But yeah. The cooking herbs work very well with hydroponics because they don't need a lot. And like even tomato, the my tomato plant, I think the biggest problem with it was it got too big and it just got way too big.
I still think that sending weeds up to Mars. Let's do it. Let's just shoot some weeds up there and see what happens.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Like I said, there's probably already life there. I'll stick by that theory.
Sending weeds up, you pothead. Woo! Send weeds up to Mars. Wow, easy there, Cheech.
That's probably going to be the way that we get to Mars the safest, is just getting everyone stoned and launching them.
Just having them relax and like, look, it's a long flight. Just like you ever listen to Pink Floyd? You're going to enjoy it.
I mean,
get you high.
Yeah, I know we're probably. This is a weird thing to switch to, but we were talking about alcohol a few weeks ago, and weed would potentially be a safer alternative because,
calms people down, relaxes them. It's a lot of the mental anxiety.
You don't have the side effects of, like vomiting and other things.
Alcohol in space seems way worse.
Yeah,
especially when, the space police pull you over in space.
Well, just don't, as long as you don't, on your rocket, don't put the I support 420 in a glittery thing, because you're just asking for to be, you know what I mean? Like, come on. They're going to frisk you. Have some class. Have some common sense.
Well, with that, John and Kirk, let's go over to your corner.
Have some common sense and come to Kirk's corner.
That's right.
So, we're going. I did not do anything because this week sucked, and I had to work today or last night, so we're still with the martini.
That's fine.
It's just like every martini I've ever seen, still there after a week,
untouched. Why? Well, you know what? I just came with it's just joke time. It's just the comedian's dozen. There's no list, but are you guys ready for some?
Bring it.
Strap on for some comedy and all right, here we go. Have some fun, everybody. Okay, so my face recognition technology doesn't recognize my face as a face. That hurts. That's all right. Having a pocket knife is perfectly fine. Having a pocket spoon is a cry for help. You're addicted to something. Either way, that's unhealthy. No matter how you're using that spoon, you shouldn't have it on you at all times. Okay. This is a deep question. John, what do you think? Does a constipated bear shit in the woods?
Yes.
Eventually.
No, he has to pray to the Pope. Speaking of that, okay, pay toilets. They only accept shit coin. Shit coin was the favorite. Come on. All right. You know what? Firefighters, they regularly wet the bed. Firefighters wet the bed because all right. They have a hose anyway. All right. This one actually, you know what? I took my fish to the water park. He loved everything except the chlorine. Yeah. He no longer sleeps with my other fishes. All right.
Okay.
Sleeping with the fishes, seriously, sleeping with fishes must suck, because who could sleep with all of those bug-eyed fish looking at you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get a wink of sleep, and great, now I'm dead. I didn't have any oxygen. You don't appreciate it till it's gone. # who knew? Okay. All right. That was a long one. How about a short? Female penis was not transitioning. The female penis. I think that was a musician joke. That was a music joke. That wasn't a transgender joke. Here's one, Chris. Actually, I bought a counterfeit bit. Apparently, I'm in great shape. I walk over 11,000 a day.
Sure.
You know what? You guys, you might appreciate this. You both children. The tie goes to the runner, but the necktie goes to the father. Come on. Yada, yada, da, da, da. Come on. All right. One more. Here's the things. Here's my problem with the kids. Kids today, they no longer know the facts of life. They have no idea about Tootie. Come on, the facts of life. Hashtag outrage.
Yeah, no facts of life, Kirk.
They take the good, they take the bad. You take them all. There you have the facts of life. The facts of life. All right, you guys are stumped by that song. So that was Kirk's
No, I know it. I know the song. And I know the name.
The facts of life was a little past our.
It's just, I'm trying to
See,
remember it, and I'm like,
come
I
on.
know the song, or the intro and all that. I can't.
All right, well, Chris will have to record a version of Facts of Life to refresh everybody's memory.
Okay, done.
Okay, so other than Toot and other Facts of Life, any questions, any stumpers?
No,
I
pretty
could
solid.
clarify. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm gonna ponder the bear one for a while, but I'm gonna say eventually.
Well, yes, after. Does a constipated bear shit in the woods?
Eat a couple extra berries, you'll be all right.
All right, good. But no, that's like I think that's Buddhist monk stuff. That's when they go pondering the thing. That's what they think about. That blows their minds. And you got your mind blown on Kirk's Corner for Fuzed Relativity, which we're skedaddling out of.
Goodbye.
Whee! All right.
I still need to slow that up a bit.
Yes, and I'm doing the sound effects still, but it's still no flies. Okay. I'm kidding. What do we do? Well, is there something else, or is it time for the other?
We're gonna go to
Reddit
off
read
topic. No,
Okay.
off topic, Kirk.
I do want to talk about the flies, because it's me. My calendar now, every single day, I have a thing that pops up that says "Make the flies." I will get it done, and I want to share the screenshot of it because it's just I have my days of work and it's just make flies all the way down my calendar.
You're like an adult human male with offspring with a job, and you have a memory. The thing that pops up and says "Make flies." That amuses. Come on, that's.
What do I gotta do today? Make flies. I'm gonna put that off till tomorrow.
And you know what the sad thing is? Chris does that naturally. Am I right? Think he smells like feces.
Kirk, what do you got for off topic?
All right. My off topic. Several gallons of Jack Daniels whiskey spilled onto a Tennessee highway. This happened recently. This is a news story. The truck contained $400,000 worth of whiskey, and it tipped over while the driver was turning onto Interstate 24. And 47 country songs have already been written about this. They're just like, wait. The driver was charged with an extreme DUI because police said they detected the strong smell of whiskey. And the last one was an inebriated hitchhiker hobo called it the greatest day of his life. Dreams do come true, and then passed out en route to the nearby Waffle House. Okay, so that was. But seriously, whiskey, Tennessee highway. I mean, Chris Stapleton he's like, this is too easy. This is a fish in the barrel.
Yeah, fish in a barrel. Yep.
Yeah, you throw in fishing, you got them all. Look, I'm going to get drunk on the way back. Someone's going to spill whiskey on the highway, and it's going to be the greatest day. Hell yeah.
They have, for a lot of people, that might be a really fun day.
It could be. Yeah, that's.
I actually thought it was you brought up an alcohol related story, and I wanted to do the same with my off topic this week. There's a river that was discovered in Hawaii, and the river was detected because it smelled like beer. And so they did a test on it, and it actually had a 1.10% alcohol by volume.
Was there like a frat house upstream or something? That's what I'm guessing.
From what I remember from the story, they said that there was a beverage company that was dumping something into a storm drain that was headed to it was going to the river, but it was enough of whatever it was that it actually made it an alcoholic river. So theoretically, if you went and drank the water, you could maybe catch a buzz from it.
You'd have to drink a lot, though.
Right, you would be peeing the whole time.
I was gonna say, and like, the Girardia to follow.
Don't think. Well, yeah, I mean, it's you don't necessarily want to go around just drinking river water, but it was. I thought it was a fun story for the first person who walked up and was like, "That river smells like beer. Let's go try it out."
Some teenager. Just some, I went close enough. That's all I got. I can't. No one will buy me beer, so I'm going to go drink the river. Guessing. That's my theory.
So, 2 alcohol-related off topics. John, do you have anything?
Mine's. I find it a little bit hilarious that there is a growing communist trend in the U.S. That was all. It's definitely a topic for a different day, but the fact that it is growing and it is counter to the whole Red Scare stuff that was going on is amazing.
That stuff comes in waves.
Well, no.
It's like it seemed like the Cold War seemed to be kind of settled. Like the U.S. side seemed to do better than the Russian. So, yeah, why would the U.S. be then supporting the system that seemed to have failed?
It's because, and this is what I mean. It's a topic for a bigger discussion, but there really isn't or hasn't been a true communist country. They can call themselves that. It doesn't follow with, what it stood for.
Well, the thing I always heard about it in communists, in a perfect system, in a perfect scenario, communism works. There's no perfect anything. So
exactly.
The flaw is in the premise that there's perfection.
Well, and that's part of the thing of why I find it funny is it's not that they're advocating for communism or anything like that. It's more that I think it's partially like reactionary of, a certain side calling everything communist for however long.
It's like a boogie word. Yeah. They just call it socialism, call it communism. People, I don't like that.
Well, because it technically falls under socialism, like Marxism, Leninism, communism. It all falls under the socialist because it's the people have the power and not, well, that's, I don't know.
Communism only has one person in power. But anyway. No person in power. That the whole point was the people had controlled the means of production, which is why it's also kind of an old. There's a whole thing about it, but I find it funny that people are declaring themselves as such, and it's mostly millennials. Of course,
because not for nothing. As a millennial, looking at how their life is in the capitalist system, they're not fans. It's not going great. The housing market is putting their price there. It's out of their price range for the piss poor wages they're getting, and they're leaving college straddled in debt. Which, with the whole point, they were told you go to college so you can make money. So they're not thrilled.
Yeah, and that's why it's going to be interesting. I think the next few years are going to be very interesting, which is why we've got some topics coming up that are going to be interesting to say the least.
And next episode is number 40. Holy cow. We made it to 40.
We are at episode 40.
Middle Age is a podcast as soon as we finish this one.
Where our podcast is going to have a midlife crisis.
Our podcast is going to get a Corvette and crash it into the some sort of overpass on the way to Vegas.
Yes. End up with a weird tattoo, maybe a piercing. We'll see.
I know a tattoo artist. I can hook that up now. So be careful what you speak of. We're getting fused relativity tattoos if we make it to 50.
I did not sign up for that.
No, you verbal. It's a verbal. It's on a podcast. It's a verbal contract. You're already. Oh, I'm gonna. We'll see. I'll see you in court.
Overruled.
All right, Judge Judy.
Well, I think that'll wrap us up for tonight. Everybody, thanks for joining us on this Black Friday. Hopefully, everybody will find some Christmas presents this weekend into Cyber Monday. You know, supposedly deals are there. I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm skeptical, but, you know, I'm sure there's something for everybody out there.
And then tomorrow there's Space Engineers.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Possibly
Yes.
two. I'll have to see how I feel.
We are riding the Space Engineers train. We got the mothership doing its thing up there right now as we speak. It's just chilling in an asteroid, but check us out tomorrow night. We'll be back on stream. Follow us on TikTok if you're not already doing so, because we got one semi-viral video. So we're
very close to we're 37 followers off from potentially being able to do something live.
Look, we're blown up, bitches. So get on board before we leave the station, so you can say you were with us before it was cool.
Yeah, you weren't the bandwagon. You
weren't a
started the
bandwagon. Exactly. You were the independent punk band when it was 8 people. Come on, Fuzed Relativity.
All right. Well, everybody, once again, thanks for listening. For Chris, John, and Kirk, we will see you next week. Go boldly, friends.